so where you at? Where you, so where you at?
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Just Kicking It. Again, my name is Olu Jabari, your host of Just Kicking It. We are here live, actually, in Sterling Heights, Michigan at Jabari's Martial Arts Academy. And the address is 43710 Shayner Road. We want you to come down and check us out or give us a call at 313-629-8524. You can catch us on Facebook as well, and or just drop us an email to justkickdem@gmail.com. So today, we are happy to have in the studio with us. A lot of you have probably seen her lately at quite a few tournaments. Some of the other Grandmaster instructors and Master instructors have judged her over the many years, and I've had the pleasure of knowing her over 20 years myself. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I know it's been a while since we've been back in the segment and in the studio, but we've had a lot of things happen, a lot of good stuff has happened. So it's good to be back on the road. Producer's here, everything's fired up. And today, I'm going to let her introduce herself. And again, my name is Olu Jabari, and reach out to us at 313-629-8524 and or justkickdem@gmail.com. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name's Theresa, but a lot of people just call me T because Theresa is apparently a very hard name to say. I have been doing martial arts for about 26, almost 27 years. I just came back too, which is scary to say.
Yeah.
Very scary to say. But I took like a 12-year retirement to go to school, get my degree, get a job, and then COVID hit. So it was sort of just like, can't really do anything else. So last year, for some reason, my brain was just like, hey, let's go back to martial arts and let's try this again. And I reached out to Master Jabari, and he said, as long as you come give back to the community, come give back to the school, I'm happy to have you. So we started off last November-ish, I think.
Yeah.
And then it's just been going up from there. Now doing tournaments again, trying to make my fourth world's team, fourth or fifth.
Wow.
And go from there.
She says it like it's a piece of cake. Fourth or fifth world team. Teresa's been training. She trained with my daughter, Melody. They were back-to-back training, fighting forms. And I always tell the story to people that Theresa used to beat up my daughter at tournaments, and they used to look at her and go, she's not in our division, right?
Every time. Every time.
She was just taller for most of the part. But no matter where we went, it was always the same story. We knew what the story was. She was old enough to be in that division. And that shied a lot of folks away from the competition because they were like, oh, man.
I take that as a compliment.
Right. But Theresa, you have had a chance to train from youth, and I know your parents very well, and you've done so much. I don't even want to ask you about all the trophies and stuff you have, but let's talk about when you first got going, where you trained at, and how that was for you, and what that has done for you up to this point.
So it was actually a different story. So I started off when I was very young, and my parents won a free week of classes for Memorial Day. And I went in and I cried and I screamed and I hid behind my dad the entire week until it wasn't free. And then I wanted to do it again. And so my parents talked to the instructor because this was in Wisconsin at the time. And they're like, can we try it again? We promise it will be better this time. And he said, sure. And that was it. That was what took it, that free week of classes. And I was hooked. It wasn't until I was like 12 or 13 that I actually got serious about karate and about martial arts and about competing. I was just sort of like, oh, I'm going to win a trophy today.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Right.
And that was it. That was what my mindset was. But growing up, I was very shy, very concealed, very like, I don't want to talk to strangers. I don't want people to look at me. I was terrified to talk in front of my classmates, just even about like things that I like. I was terrified. Started karate, and now it's like I can talk someone's ear off. I'm no longer shy. I'm like very positive in who I am, and I think martial arts has definitely shown that you can be who you want to be. You don't have to fit inside a little mold. You can be, I'm a loud, crazy, joyful person, and I'm not afraid to show it anymore. And I love that martial arts had pulled that out of me. so many years ago.
And you did. So you had a chance to do fighting forms and weapons.
Yes.
Right. So tell me what was the least one you like? No, I don't want to do that.
Honestly, forms.
Really?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that too. Go ahead.
I just like forms to me. You have to have like straight elbows. You have to have precision hands, and my hands are noodles. Like they're straight up noodles. I'm like I can kick for days, and I can do anything that I want to do. Ooh, my mic's coming off. Sorry, guys.
Is that better?
Is that better? I can do pretty much anything kick-wise. I can do jumps. I can do everything. My hands, I'm like, I hate this. I hate having long arms to where it's like they see your lines and my lines are not straight and they're like, you need straight lines. I'm like, I can't. My arms are not that short and they're very long and it's hard. And they're like, well, just do it anyways.
And you did good, but you did well in forms. We know how your fighting was. Because your fighting was one that was, you stood there, you waited patiently, and people were looking down the road going, oh, I hope I don't have to fight her today, right? Hoping that something happens, and for some reason she can bow out or she got to go home.
Something.
But you stuck in there and you did fighting extremely well, and then you even got into weapons. Now let's go back to forms. Did you ever win a lot of form grands and things like that?
I did with traditional forms.
Okay.
Open forms, not really, because I don't leave the ground. I like my ground. I don't really jump. I don't flip. I don't do all the flashy stuff.
Right.
I like the ground, and so the people that can do the flashy stuff and land it very well and have control, and they got a little bit more oomph than I did. I'm just like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I like the ground.
And for people who don't know what we're talking about, there's something called open forms competition where you can do flips in the air and come down, and we hope that you will be in the karate stands. If I'm judging, you better be in the karate stands, but more than likely that does not happen, right? They come down. It looks great and it's flashy, but some folks say it's gymnastics.
Yeah.
And that was something that you didn't get into. You were more so traditional style. And traditional style has actually been really, really well for you. Let's get into the weapons now. Let's get into the weapons.
Oh, gosh.
Karate sauce. So when you start doing weapons, you were doing it at the same time as you're doing forms?
Yes.
Okay.
So I started weapons, I think almost the same time I was in karate class. They're like, here, swing this broomstick around. And I was like, oh, Mom, this is so much fun. I want to keep doing this. And then me being the crazy person that I am, tried to throw broomsticks up and catch them with my face. And it was awesome. It was a fun time. But I got into the open weapons, which is where you can break the sound wind with a whoa. And it's just having that when you're doing a four strike or you're doing a strike and you can hear the whistle of the bow through the sound, it's sort of like, I'm actually doing this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
It's sort of like almost like a happy high.
Yeah, and you got to have a lot of control.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had a chance to see you do them almost all your life outside of the COVID years and some time that you took off. But you've done well, and this will be probably your 5th trip. Now, do you have titles right now?
Right now, I'm going to say, I guess, yes. They're older titles.
Right.
But right now, I think I'm like a 12 or 13-time state champion. I think I'm like a 6 or 7 national champion, and I'm a 3-time world champion. All with a weapon.
All with the weapon, right? So we're walking down the street and there's a broomstick near. We might be all right.
Or even just a loaf of bread if I'm going to the store.
Yeah. So, and that's great. And she comes back. Jumps into the scene. I had a chance to watch her train and talk about some of the tidbits that, we can kind of like brush up and polish up. And the good thing I like about T is, she'll work on something until she feels that it's right. And I think oftentimes you never feel that it's right.
No.
I thought that, right? Like the other night, and I was like, she goes, I think I need to take this out. Or I need to add something else. So that means come June, this month, they're going to see something a little bit different with a little twist in it, and I'm sure that it's going to be good.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Still working it out.
And that's with the bow staff. Let's talk about this other weapon. For those who know what a bow staff is, I should have brought one in, but it's this long rod. It looks like a broomstick with no broom on it, but it's kind of tapered a little bit. And some are actually straight. It's called traditional. Those are straight, pretty thick. and it's one size. And those are some of the weapons that she utilizes. Now, here's an interesting weapon. I'll let her talk about it a little bit. It's not new, but a lot of folks don't do this weapon.
No, so it's pretty much like an oar. It's like a paddle boat oar. I forgot the actual name, or I always say it wrong. And it's pretty much a big bow staff that's around 2-3 centimeters thick, and it has a paddle at the end. And it's used mainly for men, honestly.
Yeah.
Most women will not pick up an oar because it's heavy.
Yeah.
That thing it weighs about a good 8 pounds, you would think.
And you're swinging that thing.
And I
around.
swing that thing. It's fun. Why not?
I think the only other person I've seen do that was Price Martial Arts, Price's wife. I think she used the oar in some competitions. And when you combine that with the stands that have to be low, they have to be straight and accurate, and you still got to hold this oar. It's not as easy as it looks, is it?
No. And the timing of that has been crazy to relearn. Because that thing, like, as soon as you take a stance, you're either falling forward to try to catch yourself, you're falling backwards, you're falling sideways, and you're like, okay, how do I retrain my body to actually get my center down a little low so I'm not going to fall over?
Yeah.
So that was a fun thing to try to relearn coming back.
Yeah, but you're doing well. Let's talk about something that happened in the last tournament. This is a very strong individual, and she practices all the time. And this is one of her schools of practice. She teaches here. She teaches our young people, our adults and teenagers, and she also teaches our competition team. And she went to a tournament this last couple of weeks ago, and the strength she had, the oar kind of split or broke.
Split in half.
That's a lot of strength. It's like, wow, did that just happen? So, of course, I'm fighting to change the rules on that, because that was the power that you see when you're doing the techniques. To me, I think that's pretty good, especially if you defend yourself on the street against somebody. If you can break it, that's good to me. But my thing when you're doing the stance and everything else is right, I think it's hard to say you have to bow out because the weapon broke.
Yeah.
If you had control of it, I can see if you swung it and hit something. But if you're doing it and it just breaks because you're and you get that little vibration, and that just shows the power and how much you're putting into your kata.
Yeah, unfortunately, but you have to buy a new one later on, and that's not a fun thing to do anymore.
Who's to say that won't be the second one that's going to break, right?
Yeah, hopefully not. No more breaking.
Well, I just say sometimes by example, we have to show them that the power that most people have, it comes out in your forms and your weapons, and it's supposed to. That's part of what you judged on, actually. Part of what you should be judged, your power, right? So just think if you didn't have control of the weapon. Yeah,
they probably would have smucked someone else, which is not a good thing.
That wouldn't have been good, especially the way you swing. So for those, again, this is T. She has been around a while. She's done tremendous things. Like you said, you're over and over and over world champion, state champion, national champion, and we're looking forward to you going to Portugal coming up soon, right? You're hopefully going to make that team. No, not hopefully.
I am going to make that team.
You're going to make that team, right?
No more hopeful. I am.
That's going to be great for you to be back on that scene, to be in Portugal, and to be with your team. You have a team here that you're part of, that you help teach and instruct and teach them well. And we got a lot of young folks that are coming up that next year or the next time they go, they should be part of this team.
Yeah. And they have a really good chance too.
Have a good chance?
So.
Okay, good. So for people that want to get in touch with you or want to find out how they can reach you, do you have a email, a telephone number? I know they can come here and reach out to you, but what's the best days, the best times? How do they reach out to you? So
I am on Facebook. It's just Theresa Dray. You'll see my face. I am on Instagram. My email is theresadray@gmail.com. I make promises that I will try to email them back in a timely manner. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I'm here every Wednesday at like 6:45ish lately. Yeah. Until like 8:30, 9 o'clock, or I'm here Saturday morning, pretty much all morning. Between 9 to like 1 o'clock. Yep. Recently. So, or if any time in a tournament you just want to be like, hey, I saw you, just come up to me. I promise I'm not scary. I will talk your ear off. I'm usually the one before every tournament that dances. That's true. So I put on my headphones and I literally just dance around the ring. That's and I've had kids come up and be like, can I dance with you? And it's like, sure. Why not? Let's have fun. I love it. I love it.
So this is how you can reach her. You want to reach out to her, check out the Facebook page and hit her up on Facebook, send her a message and let her know what you're about. Again, at Jabari's Martial Arts Academy in Sterling Heights. You don't have to be a member.
I did have a question.
Yes, sir.
By you getting into martial arts so young, when you was going to school, did you ever have to defend yourself?
Good question.
Gratefully, no, which I'm sort of happy about. Luckily, my parents were very well trained too, and we had the safety impart for my house. So it was like if someone came up to you and said, hey, your mom told me to come pick you up, we had a password. And they're like, if you didn't have that password, I would just start screaming and I would run away. Which is another thing that karate helped me, was your voice is your greatest weapon sometimes. So screaming as like a young kid sort of alerts all the people around you to be like, what is this? Why is this child screaming? Like everyone sort of turns their head to look. So no, I never had to defend myself in school, which was nice. I had a lot of kids come up to me, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. If I punched you right now, would it hurt? And my mom would be like, that's not what karate is someone comes up and asks you to punch, you just say no and you walk away. You don't say, yes, you totally can because I am powerful, I'm strong, and I can stop it. She's like, no, martial arts is more about respecting, one, yourself, and two, knowing, yes, I have the power, but I'm not going to just show it off to everyone.
That's a great question. And the reason being in the martial arts that long, it seems that some type of encounter may have happened in most of our lives, and it gives us an opportunity to show the control we have, right? That we work for. I'm going to do a follow-up question to that one.
Oh,
I had to because he spoiled something out of me. What was your hardest tournament? Can you remember?
I'm going to say when I first became an adult here in Michigan. So they changed all of the ages. So when I was growing up, it was like 11 to 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, then 18 plus. For some reason, when I was 15, they're like, hey, we're going to change adults to 16 plus. And I was like, oh, goody gum drops. Okay, so me being this little tiny 16-year-old going up against 25, 28-year-old veterans who have been doing this longer than I've been alive, I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Am I good enough? What is life going to do? Like, why am I doing this? Like, should I be okay? And then my first fighting match was against Miss Morgan Plowden. And my little 16-year-old butt was like, I can totally do this. She was like, no, you have some more learning to do. Very quickly. But she did it respectfully, which was very nice. And I appreciated her because I think she knew I was very scared. Yeah. But I think that was one of my first real, reality checks, because me being 16, I was like, oh, I'm invincible. No one can touch me. And then I go up against these amazing people who have more power and lower stances and faster techniques than I do. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not as invincible as I thought I was.
And more experience.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's when things got more serious. And I was like, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board. How can I compete with people who were more experienced than I was? So that's when the more power came out. That's when my yell started getting a little bit louder. So when my facial expressions came through, it took a little bit, but that's when it sort of was like, okay, I need to change how I train a little bit to keep up with people that I want to compete with. So.
And for those who don't know, Morgan Plowden is a multi-world champion. I'm sure she's probably got maybe 20 or more world
20
champions.
20 or more, probably, under her belt.
She's the number one women's fighter in the world throughout the country, throughout 17 countries, as a matter of fact. And it's great that you were able to actually get in the ring with her and show what you can do. And she had been fighting all her life anyway. So that's a great thing. I think it's a great feeling. I've never been a fan, though, of the age thing. When I saw the 16 and up, I was like, oh, that is not going to be good. Which means that somebody that's been training 10 years before you were training could be 25 or 26, and they're in your division, standing right next to you.
Yep.
And you just stepped up because your instructor says, well, you're blowing out everybody in the 14 and 15-year-old. We're going to move you up to 16-year-old. Now you got these folks that's been world champion for 5 or 6 times, and you're like, okay, right? It helps, but I don't know how fair it is. It does take you to another level. But I think we should just broaden it out a little bit more, bring it back a little bit. But other than that, I think you've done well for yourself. Your parents were very, very much involved.
They still are.
I had a chance to work with them, and I still work with them. We have a tournament. If her parents and stuff not there, it's probably not going to be a good ring to be in, because that ring, when they're in the ring, it goes fast, quick, and accurate. So it's hard to find good people who understand the martial arts and how it works in the ring versus yourself. You can't be your judge. You can't do your form. You can't call your points, even though you want to.
I would like to sometimes.
I know you would. That would be great. So martial arts is more than kicking and punching.
Yeah.
It's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It's a way of respect, and just trying to treat everyone as respectfully as you can, no matter what their circumstances.
And I really love producer's question in regards to the fighting thing, because people get in martial arts and they think kick and punch. They think fight all the time. They don't think about discipline, self-respect, self-control. They don't think about those things until we tell them as instructors, right? Because we got kids here who come here. Oh, he's got so much energy. Oh, can you let him kick it? No, we're not going to just let him kick and punch.
You guys got to listen to teachers, got to listen to parents. Got to actually, when people say stop, we got to stop.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's hard because some of these things are not taught at home in some schools, and some are, but it needs a reinforcement.
Yeah.
And I think martial arts does reinforcement for that. So before we go, I know the producer's here, and he's great at capturing everything. I always ask them, do they want to do a little move or something, but she doesn't have her hair tied today, so I don't know how she feels about that.
I can if you would like me to.
You don't have to throw it up in the air.
No, I need a bow staff though.
Can you get a bow staff?
I can go find one.
Okay.
Eventually.
So while she's going to the back, she's going to grab a bow staff, and she's going to do a couple of moves just to show you what a world champion looks like. And remember, if you want to learn this, please don't do this at home. Go to your nearest martial arts training facility, or reach out to us at Jabari's Martial Arts. We're here at 43710 Shaner, right at Canal, and or reach us at 313-629-8524, and or drop us an email, justkickdem@gmail.com. So for Theresa, who's coming back, she's going to get a bow. She's been a world champion over and over, probably a 12-time state champion and a 6-time national champion, starting off at the age of about 6 or 7. So she's been around. I think you're going to enjoy this. Hopefully the cameras can pick it up because she's very fast. Give us a moment. I'm going to have to move some of this. Is that okay, sir? Okay. Hoping she can find the bow staff. Have you seen her work the bow before? Okay. Might want to take your hat off for this one. Remember that noise she talked about there? You're about to hear it. This is how fast you can get hit if you're in the community messing with a sister like this. And this is what we teach here, so. All right. You want your music or no music?
No music, no, this is a couple.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have to go around the head and over the hair, just so you know. Yeah, you don't have to throw it. Well, she throws it up and, knocks the towels out and stuff. No.
Yeah, a couple times.
It's okay. This is your school, so hey.
So
I'm going to step out of the way. And if you want to say anything before, you just want to just do a couple moves.
So pretty much the moves I'm going to do are any basic form should need. It is a 4-strike, a quick turn, and a 3-strike combination. It is pretty much anything any form will need. So what I do with my kids, and even before I go, it's called a radio time. So 4-strike is 1, 2, 3, 4. Radio is you start slow. You do it 10 times each time. You do faster. And you should hear every strike. So sometimes it's nicer to have the big uniform top.
Yes.
Because I don't bruise my arms. So, but quick turn here. You just turn and you want to stop. So have a slam on your foot. It's easier. And then a 3-strike combination. It's just something that every bow form probably needs to have at least 1, 2, or all 3 of the above.
Wow. Make you feel better? So there you have it. There you have it. Mwalimu T, or Theresa Dray, she is awesome at what she does, and If you want more, you want to learn how to use that boat staff, reach out to Jabari's Martial Arts. Come by, give us a call. Pull T's Facebook page and send her a message. Talk to her about what you want to do. And if it's something that we can help you with, I'm sure she'll be happy to help you. Any last words before we close out?
This was fun.
This was fun. There you have it from a person who says with her sticks and makes your eyes go all kind of ways, right? Master producer, did you get all of that?
There we go.
You got it all. Again, my name is Olu Jabari from Jabari's Martial Arts Academy. Just kicking it with Mwalimu, Theresa, Dray. And we want to thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. Look for some new guests. And again, drop us an email, send us a text, or catch us on Facebook. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Where you, so where you at? Where you, so